Alright everyone, now we need to talk about the SCOTUS decision regarding Mifepristone, actually. It's an abortion drug. It's used within the first few weeks of a pregnancy to effectively block progesterone and therefore terminate the pregnancy. And I've got a very, very clingy kitty here, so I'm gonna, have to wrangle her. The SCOTUS decision was unanimous in favor of Mifepristone remaining legal. I support this decision. I've made it clear to people that I'm pro-choice. I'm not anti-choice or pro-life, as some people proclaim it. I do believe in limitations on abortion. I think it should be within the first trimester, roughly 12 to 14 weeks or thereby. This cutoff is, by the way, used by most civilized countries in the world because it's understood that we don't need to have third trimester abortions. It's understood that we don't need Ralph Northam style abortions going on. That's generally reckoned to be murder. I happen to agree with that. That being said, I do not believe that the state should be allowed to force a woman to carry a child to term, and I've made that clear, and sometimes I clash with members of my audience on this topic. They think abortion should be illegal at all stages. I would point out that the existence of herbalism kind of nullifies that. If you drink pennyroyal tea with cohosh, you're going to get effectively the same result as Mifepristone. It's just that we're using inorganic medicine these days, and so things are more standardized. I applaud the Supreme Court for its decision because I happen to believe that this is the right thing to do. The fact that you would ban a drug from being dispensed because of its use in abortion, specifically and singularly, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. This was a unanimous decision, by the way. If you're going to claim that Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh are left-wing on the existence of abortion, then you're barking up the wrong tree. The fact is they're simply saying that the drug will remain available for people to ingest, effectively. They can get it through the mail. If you don't want a bunch of surgical abortions, you're going to have to allow Mifepristone or something similar to exist. And that's the long and short of it. Preferably, if you're going to have an abortion, it's within the first 6 or 7 weeks, something like that. That's the effective stage in which you would use a drug like that. And it simply blocks the pregnancy from continuing. Most abortions in the United States at this point aren't even surgical. They do involve this particular drug or something similar to it. And there are several of them. But they've made a constitutionalist argument, actually. The Supreme Court on Thursday rejected a lawsuit challenging the Food and Drug Administration's approach to regulating the abortion pill Mifepristone with a ruling that will continue to allow the pills to be mailed to patients without an in-person doctor's visit. I support this. The ruling is a significant setback for the anti-abortion movement in what was the first major Supreme Court case on reproductive rights since the court's conservative majority, I would say kind of conservative majority, overturned Roe v. Wade in 2020. That was with the separate decision. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote the opinion for the unanimous court. The court ruled that the doctors and anti-abortion groups that had challenged access to the drug did not have standing to sue. Though technical, the court's reasoning is important because it might encourage other Mifepristone challenges in the future, and they probably will. But if they don't have standing to sue, then you can't bring a SCOTUS case. The problem is that you have to actually be eligible and aggrieved in order to bring a SCOTUS case, generally speaking. Just another example of the Supreme Court slow-walking things. It's done this before. Roe v. Wade has ended. This is effectively now a states' rights issue, which is what the GOP fought for, by the way, for half a century. Some of them now believe that it should be federalized, that the issue should be at the national level. No, it shouldn't. That's a terrible idea, especially in an election season. There's no will among the population to actually want a federal solution, quote-unquote, to abortion. Abortion will remain legal in the United States. What we're trying to do is have a sort of common sense compromise on the issue. One that has been adopted by most nations in the world. Usually it's between a 12 and 16 week cutoff. And at the latter end, you have a surgical abortion. At the earlier end, you have a chemically induced abortion. You take this drug or something similar. Again, or you can use pennyroyal and cohosh, and it'll do the same thing. It's just, it's not necessarily as safe or effective. Maybe you have a retarded baby at that point. This is the right decision, I think, and they're definitely punting on the issue. But punting is the right thing to do in some cases. They don't want a federal solution. They're saying, look, go through the legislatures, go through the executive branch. You can always resort to them. That's literally part of their decision. Why are you asking us exactly whether this drug should be legal or illegal when you can get a legislative solution? I happen to agree with that. If you do not believe in abortion, and you're in a state that is far red or something like that, you can use the legislature to pass legislation. That's sort of the point. That's the whole point of the United States. If you're in a blue state, of course, that's not going to be applicable. And that's the way that it should be. You're going to end up with a patchwork of states. In some states in the United States, abortion right now is effectively illegal. It's impossible to obtain one. Planned Parenthood cannot give you Mifepristone. In other states, it's effectively unregulated. Like in my home state of Vermont, which is far blue, you can technically have a 7-month abortion. It's not really happening, but technically, on paper, you wouldn't get in trouble for doing that. And if you're in Virginia, by God, apparently you can abort when the baby is crowning. I do not support this, by the way. I think that that's murder at that point. But the drug should remain legal. This is used in the first few weeks of a pregnancy. This is not used in the second trimester. It's not used in the third trimester. If you want less surgical abortions, you're going to have to keep it legal. It's just pragmatism. And the government shouldn't have anything to say about it because it's simply a chemical compound, and I believe that chemical compounds should remain legal as well. I think people should be able to manufacture it on their own, actually. Not for abortion purposes, but just for any purpose under the sun. Maybe they're using it as a reagent to, I don't know, make drugs or something like that. Call me insane, call me non-pragmatic, but I believe that's the best way to go. That's about all. Peace out.